A cargo ship defends itself against armed pirates attempting to board by taking this action. You may be asking yourself, what can water do to stop AK-47s? Although I agree with you that water guns are a rather ineffective weapon, especially because the ship's crew will be destroyed if the pirates get to board, water cannons are really fairly good in keeping pirates off the ship. They might be held captive for several weeks, months, or even years, not that they would be executed. However, what really happened when Somali pirates attacked a US Navy destroyer and cruiser simultaneously, why many commercial ships don't just keep real weapons on board to fend off criminals, why pirates can't hear the sound of these loudspeakers even if they wear earplugs, how this simple attachment turns a hose into a weapon, and what the crew can do in the event that all of that fails to take place is not what you think. Anti-piracy tools. Most commercial ships have two lines of defense in place to fend off pirate attacks. The discouragement layer comes first and is comparable to mounting a security camera outside your home. Although it won't physically stop someone, it will deter some would-be burglars from targeting your home. The anti-boarding layer, which is the second layer, works similarly to a security gate at your home to significantly reduce the likelihood of break-ins. The first step in the deterrent layer for commercial ships might be to position dummies throughout the vessel to create the appearance that there are more crew members on duty. Lasers could also be employed to obscure the pirates' vision as they get closer. The ship might also pick up more speed because it is far riskier and more difficult for pirates to board a fast-moving ship. LRAD, but one of the best tools for discouraging people is undoubtedly a long-range acoustic device, or LRAD. The crew could utilize LRADs to get in touch with any questionable boats as soon as they see them coming. If that doesn't dissuade the pirates, LRADs have the option to direct an extremely loud, if not unbearably so, tone towards the boat. It may be as loud as being behind a jet engine. Though one manufacturer claims that would not be particularly effective, you may suppose the pirates could just wear earplugs. This is due to the fact that bone conduction headphones still allow sound waves to enter your inner ear through the vibration of the skull's bones. This could deter thieves in some situations, causing them to turn back and seek for the next, easier prey. Nevertheless, determined pirates might shoot and destroy the LRAD. This is the point at which the secondary anti-boarding apparatus becomes useful. Anti-boarding trace electronics. This is a straightforward yet powerful boat stopping tool. As the boat passes over the water, it shoots out a rope that remains on the surface and knots the motor propeller. Applying the same idea to cargo ships now, you obtain the following: a sequence of trailing wires that the ship's sides and stern can pull out. This would probably deter a boat from approaching too closely and cause them to think twice. This kind of abrupt pause could actually put the pirates in danger. Cannon of water. Another useful instrument for preventing unwanted onboarding are water cannons. In the same way that cannons are used to quell riots, they can also be used to discourage pirates. However, an approaching boat could be filled to the brim by the cannons, possibly sinking it. Certain cannons are controlled remotely, allowing the crew to utilize them without fear of being shot at while they are at a safe distance away. While some feature moving heads that continuously spray water on the ship's sides, others are fixed but shoot water in all directions to obstruct onboarding. There's the water curtain after that. The restricting nozzle at the end makes sure that the water exiting is high pressure, and the specifically made sinker weight keeps the nozzle down close to the water's surface. This causes the lengthy hose to thrash about aggressively and randomly. It would hurt for sure to be struck by this. It would also be challenging to get on board if there were more of them down the ship's side. Sharp wire. One further way to stop pirates from using a ladder to board a ship is to use good old barbed wire or razor wire. When needed, rolls of razor wire can be swiftly assembled on the deck. Using safety barriers is another strategy. By keeping pirates from latching their ladders on the ship's perimeter, these barriers, which are easily fixed to the ship's sides, keep the pirates out. They are challenging to climb over even with a rope because of their shape and the opening they provide the climber. Tools against piracy. Against Houthi rebels. The goal of all the anti-boarding procedures that were discussed was to defend cargo ships from pirate attacks using tiny boats. A helicopter approached the Israeli-owned cargo ship Galaxy Leader on a Red Sea shipping route on November 19, 2023, and dropped off a few armed Houthi rebels and, from the looks of it, a professional videographer as well. It was never thought that intruders would board a cargo ship from the sky. The 25 crew members were caught off guard by the rebels and taken prisoner. Is there anything, nevertheless, the Galaxy Leader crew could have done to keep their spacecraft afloat? When the hijackers are on board, there is really just one thing the crew can do, and no, I'm not talking about engaging in gunfire to get the hijackers to go. The best course of action, should all else fail, is for the crew to send out a mayday to alert the authorities, then shut down the ship and enter a safe compartment that the pirates cannot breach. Usually pirates lack the skills necessary to control the ship, and they have little power if they are unable to kidnap someone. They would probably have to evacuate before the Coast Guard or Navy arrived. However, this option was not available with Galaxy Leader due to the element of surprise from the sky. The Houthis who stole the Galaxy Leader, a vehicle transporter, didn't seem to care that there were no automobiles on board when they took it. This is due of the political motivation behind the Houthis hijacking. And for that reason, starting in January 2024, the Houthi rebels have docked the ship close to a bay off the coast of Yemen. making it a somewhat tourist destination that even looks good enough for a selfie. However, the objectives and motives of the good old pirates are entirely different. Goals of piracy in Somalia versus the Gulf of Guinea. Take Somali pirates for instance. Their intention when they take over a ship is to keep it and its crew captive until a ransom is made. The 2008 seizure of the Ukrainian cargo ship Fina by Somali pirates, who held 20 people prisoner on the ship for 4 months until receiving $3.2 million in ransom that was airdropped close to the ship, is a well-known example of this. The following day, the pirates abandoned ship, but the hostages managed to escape unharmed. A distinct kind of attack was occurring in the Gulf of Guinea. Typically, such pirates would only target the cargo that was already on board, holding the crew and the ship hostage until the cargo was moved via a ship-to-ship transaction. This process may take up to 10 days, following which the ship and its crew were often released. How to prevent pirates on commercial ships? Of course, there are strategies to lessen the likelihood of being a pirate's target. For instance, as of December 28, 2023, half of the container ship fleet that frequently travels the Red Sea and Suez Canal to go from Asia to Europe is avoiding this route due to the ongoing Houthi attacks from Yemen. Instead, they circumnavigate the whole continent of Africa, which extends their journey by up to a week and increases shipping expenses and delays. The cost of insurance goes increase for those who decide to stick with the traditional approach. However, wouldn't it be simpler to simply arm the crew with weapons so they could defend themselves against assaults? Yes, in theory, but there are practical and legal restrictions. Why don't cargo ships have weapons? Merchant ships operating in international seas are subject to the state legislation of the flag they are flying. They are allowed to carry weapons if the flag state allows it. However, the issue arises when those ships start sailing between nations and ports where it is forbidden to own firearms. Aside from legal concerns, the crews of the ship are there to run the vessel, not engage in combat with pirates. Not to pop a can of worms, but it seems to me that this is similar to requesting American instructors to carry guns in the event of a school shooting. Most teachers, I believe, wouldn't want that kind of responsibility. For this reason, some ships employ private security firms that can go with them into pirate areas. These firms are typically approved by port state control, allowing the ship to enter sovereign waters, even though it is armed. Navies avoiding plagiarism. Having said that, traditionally, the big guns have come out when piracy has grown to be a significant problem. Of course, I'm referring to the Navy. For instance, piracy in Somali waters gained popularity in the early 21st century and peaked in 2011 with 212 attacks carried out by Somali pirates. According to estimates from the World Bank, such attacks cost the global economy $18 billion. The US and coalition vessels from Combined Task Force 150 started actively pursuing pirate vessels in an effort to deter them due to the seriousness of the issue. However, on March 18, 2006, the US Navy destroyer USS Gonzales and the cruiser USS Cape St. George were engaged in combat by several Somali boats. Using RPGs and other weapons, the pirates opened fire on the ships. The American ships retaliated by firing small caliber guns. During this, a 50 caliber tracer round fired from USS Gonzales caught fire and burned a huge pirate skiff all the way to the waterline. Since the Houthi rebels had repeatedly attacked commercial ships in the Red Sea, crippling global shipping, as well as their attacks on US naval vessels, navies have played a significant role in securing merchant routes and combating piracy. For this reason, on January 11, 2024, US and British forces launched air raids on targets throughout Yemen in response to the Houthi militia. The Houthis, also known as Ansar Allah, were designated as a specially designated global terrorist organization by the United States on January 17, 2024. This implies that the rebels will no longer have access to water weapons.